shocking report shows nuclear energy is better for Tesla cars than you thought. The electric vehicle industry is transmitting toward nuclear energy, and it might sound risky at first, but it is way better than you think. And even Tesla boss Elon Musk has few things to say about it. Do you want to know what it was? Stay tuned till the end. Welcome to yet another video of ManaTech, and today we are talking about why nuclear energy is better for Tesla cars. So, let's get started. The 1950s have imagined what a nuclear-powered car might look like. The concept is to power an electric motor with a nuclear fission reactor at the back. Each microreactor would last 5,000 miles before needing to be replaced with a new one, so you received a reactor change rather than an oil change. The STUDEBAKER ASTRAL, also from 1958, is an excellent alternative. This one-wheeled vehicle has gyroscopes for stabilization and is fueled by atomic energy, which surrounds the car in a force field for protection, enabling it to take off into space and travel through the air. Of course, those ideas never materialized, but humans could nevertheless create such nuclear-powered cars. In 1954, the MUSK Nautilus was launched as the world's first nuclear-powered submarine. Two steam turbines that were fueled by an onboard fission reactor produced over 13,000 horsepower for the propulsion system and the ship's electrical systems, a significant advancement in submarine technology and enabling the Nautilus to stay underwater forever. Okay, why shouldn't modern technology be able to scale this down to the level of powering a car if a nuclear reactor could power a boat in 1959? As you may anticipate, the answer is true. Small modular nuclear reactors, or SMNRs, have recently been a widespread issue. Later, President Trump backed this up with a $1.4 billion Department of Energy funding in late 2020 to support the testing of the new technology. President Biden then received the grant and approved the construction of the nation's first SMNR in 2021. They are working on it, but it hasn't been finished yet. Before 2018, NASA had already created a prototype of a small module fission reactor that would someday power the KiloPower NASA Lunar Outpost project. Since it was barely 1.5 feet wide and 1 meter long, the reactor was incredibly small. In fact, it most likely would have fit comfortably in this Ford Nucleon's rear. So, the futuristic nuclear power plant envisioned all those years ago is now a reality. I'd say no, and that's a regrettable 60 years of technology, considering the recent NASA prototype only produced 1 kilowatt of electricity, or 1.3 horsepower. Even now, I could propel a vehicle more quickly than any nuclear engine of reasonable size could. The distance between where we are and where we need to be is great. There hasn't been enough innovation lately to remedy the issue very soon. A mini nuclear reactor is a bit of a stretch and might never come true, but there is another solution to the problem. It is an atomic diamond battery. One company developing diamond batteries is NDB, which is situated in California. As some have dubbed it, it has introduced its brand new nano diamond battery or nuclear diamond battery. The technological innovations used by NDB are encased in synthetic diamonds and are created from nuclear waste. The maximum longevity of the nano diamond battery is astounding, 28,000 years. That's an eternity in terms of battery life or anything else. The innovative battery has the potential to one day provide low-carbon electricity for anything from airplanes to cell phones. The first nuclear diamond battery was conceptualized and demonstrated in 2016 by researchers from the University of Bristol. In a speech, Professor Tom Scott claimed that his group had created a synthetic diamond that would produce a small electric current when used in a radioactive setting. The battery may generate a charge when the diamond is positioned close to a radioactive source, effectively self-charging. The Bristol team initially demonstrated a prototype using nickel-63 as the radiation source, but they later switched to carbon-14, a radioactive form of carbon. The ability to help with nuclear waste cleanup is one of the benefits of nuclear diamond batteries. The oldest nuclear power plants in the UK have enormous reserves of carbon-14 in their graphite blocks. Despite being a low-yield beta particle emitter, carbon-14 must be stored appropriately for a long time since it is still too toxic to release into the environment. Bristol specialists think there is a tremendous possibility for recovering and repurposing what is currently only nuclear waste. A spin-off company by the name of Arconlight was given the task of commercializing the diamond battery idea. This approach is vastly preferable to burying nuclear waste underground, where additional safety measures are needed to prevent contamination. On the other hand, nuclear diamond batteries are fully secure. A beta-voltaic solar cell makes up the diamond battery, similar to a photovoltaic solar cell in converting beta radiation into energy rather than light. The diamond in the battery is significantly smaller than the diamonds used in rings because it is composed of tiny layers of huge crystalline grains. Additionally, this multi-layered design aims to avoid radiation leakage and lessen hazards to people's health. Carbon-14 beta particles do not travel very far despite having high energy. It is extremely unlikely that it will release radiation that can pass through human skin if securely enclosed in a solid matrix, such as a diamond. While Arcanlight aims to employ nuclear diamond batteries to power small detectors, wireless IoT devices, sensors, or medical implants, NDB concentrates on high-performance applications like electric vehicles. Nuclear diamond batteries may one day help with distributed power management for satellites or spacecraft, enabling them to run for longer periods of time under challenging settings, thanks to the diamond's indestructibility. Now that we have talked a lot about nuclear batteries, let me tell you that even Elon Musk favors it. In a recent interview, Elon said, "We need to get the parts per million level of CO2 in the atmosphere down to a lower level. We're going to have to pull it out of the air and store it somewhere, and I think storing it in some solid form is going to make sense. You know, in a form that you know after you store it, it doesn't gradually sort of evaporating and return to the atmosphere. It needs to be you've got to extract the CO2 and store it." Musk pointed out that a lot of energy would need to be expended in order to do this. And when it comes to energy, he thinks that harnessing nuclear energy is a great method to power carbon capture plants, at least for the time being. Musk stated that employing nuclear power is a reasonable energy source, barring areas that are vulnerable to natural calamities. "I'm actually pro-nuclear as well. I think nuclear has a bad rap. People shouldn't be shutting down nuclear power stations, in my view, unless they're in a location that's prone to natural disasters. In which case, you can't just be like, we're just waiting for the real but once-in-a-century situation. Like the Fukushima situation. Well, there's a lot of tsunamis and stuff, so it's probably not great to have nuclear where there are natural disasters. But for example, in like France or Germany, and many parts of the US, there's really no meaningful risk of a natural disaster that could affect nuclear power plants. So we shouldn't shut them down in that case," Musk said. Elon Musk eventually observed that solar energy and batteries would likely be the world's energy sources. However, for the time being, as the transition continues, alternatives like nuclear power are not at all undesirable. It undoubtedly outperforms the usage of dirtier energy sources like coal and fossil fuels. Nuclear power still might have a long way to go, but it will surely change the way we look at the industry today. This was all for today. We'll see you at the next one.